Hi, welcome to American Dream TV. I'm your host, Grant Ginder. What most people don't realize about Northwest Arkansas is that it's home to one of the fastest growing art scenes in the country. This is part of the NWA life where art, architecture, and community come together to create something truly inspiring. Today, we have the privilege of visiting world-renowned artist George Dombek at his incredible studio and sanctuary in Goshen, Arkansas. George is a master artist who's featured in permanent works at Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art, as well as other major collections around the world. Join me as we step inside his remarkable studio. Hi George, thank you so much for taking time out of your open house today to visit with me. What I feel is amazing about you is you not only do art, but it all stems from architecture, and I understand that you designed the whole studio yourself.
That's true, yeah. My first degree is architecture, then I got an MFA in painting, but I practiced for a couple of years in architecture, and then I decided my true calling was art, painting, and so I've been there ever since.
So these are some of my favorite pieces of yours, the birds in the trees and the bikes.
After spending time in Italy, I picked up sticks there and made them, and then I was also painting real bicycles. It turned into painting and sticks. Then I added birds, It's kind of a universal symbol.
George, you've been all over the world. You've been in Italy, Florida, Saudi Arabia. What made you decide to come to Northwest Arkansas and settle here?
I grew up in Paris, Arkansas. Attended school 3 semesters here and then dropped out for a few years and then came back, University of Arkansas, in architecture. And I finished a 5-year degree there. But I was painting in the summer. At that time, they didn't have architecture classes in the summers. I took art classes. And then when I got out, I entered graduate school to be a painter. So I get called an architect, but don't claim to be a practicing architect in any sense. Accused of being a landscape architect, which I'm not, but I do spend time outside working. I got 2 things I do in life: work on this place and paint. That's it.
So I noticed you have a lot of barn paintings. You want to tell me what your inspiration is?
I grew up in Paris, Arkansas, and out in the country. And we had a barn, the neighbors had a barn, and there were barns on all sides of me. So I kind of grew up around barns. I did a study, actually, when I was in architecture, documenting barns in Northwest Arkansas, but I ended up a year or 2 later starting to paint barns. I've done 3 series. The first one was in graduate school, and the second one was in Florida. And then when I came back to Arkansas, I started looking at barns again, but they were always outside. And the first 2 series were inside barns. A lot of people have painted barns. It was a very romantic image, barn in the landscape.
Do you think your background in architecture helped you in art?
It's pretty obvious that use some of the same tools that architects use, the straight edge, for instance. The tools of the architects certainly plays a part in my experience of teaching and going through school and working in offices.
So I've seen this as Crystal Bridges, and this is one of my favorite pieces of yours. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
We had some visitors before Crystal Bridges opened. How this came about is that we went out, found an apple tree, a real tree, and then cut it up into 109 pieces. So you take each piece and you cover it with a plaster of Paris. You put it in a kiln for a week. It burns out everything, and then you weld it together.
Well, this is amazing for someone that's not a sculptor. I love your paintings of these as well too. And I know you paint barns, but I also heard that you fixed up a 100-year-old barn yourself. I'd love to see that if we can.
This is old wood. It had big beams in here that had joists underneath it, but they're all rotten too. So anything that was horizontal.
How long did it take you to restore this?
Well, I don't know if I'm finished yet. I've had it about 10 or 12 years. I took that ladder that they had up here and took it down and put it in my studio. And I asked the guys who were working up here, I said, build one just like it. What they did different, they made this 2x opposed to a 1x. The reason that it was a 1x, you could move it. This ladder is so heavy,
that looks heavy.
you can't move it. I built that little space there, but I didn't block all the light coming in. You know, a lot of times people remodel a barn, they put sheetrock on all the walls and everything. Well, the beauty of this is the light filtering into it, and so I tried to keep that going. Well, this is kind of what I grew up in.
Wow.
You know,
Well, I love all the natural light and the blend of the new and the old.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Wow, this is such a beautiful barn.
it has a nice feel. I mean, I like the way it feels, and it's been here now 140 years. Isn't that amazing?
It is. Thank you so much for having us.
Well, thank you.
I really appreciate it.
I enjoyed it too.
Wow, what an incredible experience touring George Dombek's studio and seeing how art and architecture come together in such a unique way here in Northwest Arkansas. Thanks for being a part of the journey. I'm your host, Grant Ginder, and I'll see you next time on American Dream TV.